This is the royal love story that was never just a love story. A shy kindergarten assistant turned global icon. A prince under pressure to marry the right girl. And the woman he reportedly loved before and during his marriage. Today on Brick Glam, we're breaking down the glamorous, painful and controversial triangle of Charles, Diana and Camilla, how it began, why it spiraled into scandal, and how it changed the British monarchy forever. To understand this triangle, we need to know who these three people were at the start. Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne, born into duty, tradition and enormous pressure to marry appropriately. Camilla Shand, a later Parker Bowles, a well-connected, confident woman from the aristocratic social circle around the royals. And Lady Diana Spencer, much younger, shy, from a noble family but not yet a global star. On paper, Diana looked like the perfect fairytale bride. But emotionally, many royal biographers argue that Charles's heart was already tied to someone else, Camilla. Charles and Camilla first met in the early 1970s, reportedly at a polo match. They moved in the same elite circles, shared a similar sense of humor, and, according to many accounts, quickly became close. Camilla was seen as warm, down-to-earth and unafraid to tease the prince, something he reportedly loved. But there was a problem: timing, class expectations, and royal protocol. Charles was often away on naval duty, and the palace, according to several royal insiders, did not view Camilla as the ideal future queen. She was seen as too experienced romantically, not suitable in the old-fashioned royal sense. While Charles was away, Camilla married another man from their circle, Andrew Parker Bowles, in 1973. Charles was said to be devastated, but he carried on with his royal duties and a series of other relationships. Still, the emotional bond between Charles and Camilla never completely disappeared. Even after her marriage, they remained close friends, and over time, that friendship would become much more complicated for. Diana first met Charles in the late 1970s, when she was still a teenager and he was dating her older sister. But it wasn't until around 1980 that their relationship truly began. By this time, Charles was in his early 30s, and there was intense pressure from the palace and the press for him to settle down and produce an heir. Diana Spencer seemed to tick every box. Young. Aristocratic background. Shy, modest and, in the eyes of the public, innocent. In February 1981, their engagement was announced, and Diana instantly became the world's new obsession. During their engagement interview, a journalist asked if they were in love. Diana answered, "Of course." Charles replied, "Whatever in love means." To many people, it sounded like an awkward joke. To others, especially in hindsight, it felt like a warning sign that this fairytale might not be as perfect as it looked from the outside. On July 29, 1981, Diana walked down the aisle at St. Paul's Cathedral in a dress that became instantly iconic, yards of silk taffeta, a 25-foot train, watched by hundreds of millions around the world. It was the ultimate royal spectacle, the shy kindergarten assistant turned Princess of Wales. But even on their honeymoon, there were signs that something was wrong. According to Diana's own later accounts and multiple biographers, Diana discovered early in the marriage that Charles was still emotionally entangled with Camilla. She reportedly found engraved jewelry intended for Camilla, noticed frequent phone calls, and felt that her husband confided in Camilla in a way he didn't with her. Diana famously summed it up years later in a now iconic interview with the BBC, saying, "There were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Whether every detail can ever be fully proven or not, the picture painted by many sources is clear. Diana felt sidelined, insecure and increasingly convinced that her husband's heart belonged to another woman. As the 1980s went on, the fairytale continued on the surface: glamorous tours, ball gowns, tiaras, 2 young princes and countless official engagements. But behind the scenes, the marriage was deteriorating. Most royal biographers agree that by the mid-1980s, Charles and Camilla had resumed a romantic relationship, though the exact timing and details are still debated. Diana, hurt and increasingly unhappy, reportedly sought emotional connection elsewhere and also had relationships outside the marriage. The British tabloids began to feast on rumors of affairs, arguments and secret recordings. In 1992, a private, intimate phone call between Charles and Camilla was leaked to the press, causing huge embarrassment and confirming to the public what had long been whispered, that their relationship was far more than just friendship. That same year, Charles and Diana officially separated, though they remained legally married and continued public duties for some time. In 1994, Charles gave a television interview in which he admitted being unfaithful, but said it was only after the marriage had, in his words, irretrievably broken down. In 1995, Diana gave her own explosive television interview, speaking openly about her struggles, her eating disorder, her lack of support, and the pain of living in the public eye while feeling emotionally abandoned. By 1996, the marriage was over. Charles and Diana's divorce was finalized, ending what had once been sold to the world as a modern royal fairy tale. So how do we make sense of the Charles, Diana, and Camilla love triangle? On one level, it's a story of timing and pressure. A prince who, according to many accounts, loved a woman the palace didn't approve of. A young bride stepping into a marriage and an institution she didn't fully understand. And a relationship that began in the shadows, but eventually reshaped the future of the monarchy. On another level, it's a very human story of love, insecurity, betrayal, duty, and public image, played out on the grandest possible stage. However you feel about them, these three lives, intertwined in love and conflict, changed how the world sees the British royal family. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Charles and Camilla should ever have been together in the first place? Was Diana always destined to be hurt, or could this have ended differently if the royals had allowed Charles to follow his heart from the start? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love royal stories, scandals, and timelines with a glam twist, subscribe to Brit Glam. In the next video, we'll be breaking down Princess Diana, from shy teenager to global icon, and the outfits, moments and scandals that turned her into the world's most famous woman.